Oh, it's really loud in there.
And down.
So I did the fade out.
If that's not part 5 of our show this year, I'm not watching.
Are we rolling?
Yes.
Should be a soloist dancer in the middle.
That's right. That's right.
You? Attaway's a solo dancer?
Oh, it would be that would be hot.
That'd be majestic if you had this outfit that just wrapped around your body like this, but exposed.
Expose what?
Nothing.
Is that a fat joke?
No. Why? Okay, no. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so we're rolling. Can you just say something really quickly? This is Claire, by the way.
Hi.
Ta-da! Claire
Drum
Vance.
major for Prosper High School.
Drum major,
Yes.
Domo. I didn't know what Domo meant until like my junior year.
I've never
I thought
heard
it
that in my
just
life.
was like dummy, like a different way to say
heard of it
dummy. Domo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it never made any sense to me because it's D-O-M-O and major is spelled M-A-J-O-R. So I don't know.
And the word drum, there's no O.
Yep.
So there you go. It should be Druma.
It was on posters and stuff, so it was
Drew
official.
Madge.
Drew Madge. Can you up the mic a little bit?
Up the mic a little bit.
So, what was the topic of the day? What are we talking about?
Well, you said marching band.
Yeah, marching band.
Yeah.
That deserves a pep song.
Oh, hold on. Pep song.
Do you see how easy it is to get him excited?
I am easy to please here.
Pause. Go. Oh, wait. Marching band, go. Okay.
There you go.
I'm glad that lasted a whole line. Look, this is why we don't shoot in here. Is that Maddie?
Yes, I have to go.
You have
Oh.
to go already?
I do.
Well, say goodbye, Claire.
Bye. Sorry.
Wow.
Thank you for having me.
You changed all of our lives.
I hope I inspired you.
Yep.
So,
So anyway, the
this
topic
is
of
a
the day,
great
marching.
start.
Dude, I don't know
Our
whose
guest is
idea it
already
was to
gone.
bring a drum major on here. They're always doing something. They're always busy.
So, what are we going to talk about?
I told you marching band. We're going to talk about marching band.
Very cool.
What was we're gonna address Ann Skahill's question with this episode
Okay.
because we aim to please.
We do aim to please.
And when somebody submits a question, we answer. Doesn't matter what question, right?
Well, I mean, it may matter what question because we could get some weird questions.
We do.
We could.
We could.
I mean, I don't want to completely open the floodwaters here.
Yeah.
Could get shocking fast.
Now that you put it like that, I don't want to either.
Right.
So did she email it? Do you remember? Or did she just kind of
comment? On
it was a comment.
iTunes.
Okay.
Yeah, she had mentioned that she's got a son in the Prosper Band, and
Who will go nameless?
we'll go nameless. And
I'm just quoting you.
Oh.
Because you say that all the time.
I do.
Well, you don't say it outside of the podcast. I mean, you know, when we're talking bad about people, we just say them by name. But
We never talk bad about people.
not even once.
So, Ann's got a son who is a trumpet player in the Prosper Band, and she submitted a question asking what parents can do to help inspire their kids, help their kids support their kids in their band program. And I thought that was a really interesting idea, and thought maybe we could address it a little bit. So,
Okay.
what do you think?
Inspire your children. So, actually, full disclosure, I actually had a I guess you could call it online interview with Ann for Prosper band parents about this.
Yeah, I watched it.
You watched it, the whole thing?
She said it, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm inspired.
I mean, you were dropping knowledge bombs on them.
Yeah, because I started shooting a podcast with you, and like once you start shooting a podcast with Michael Attaway, you don't stop. Your whole life is just one big podcast.
It's just changed.
Yeah. So since that's out there, I don't know. Maybe she's probably got to post it online somewhere or on some kind of forum or page. But, yeah, marching band is it's like that thing in life that forces you to live the way you should have been living, you know? So.
In what way?
We should all be getting up early. We should all be exercising daily, living in a communal way where we're interacting with the people in our community and people who are like-minded with us. And
So like communism?
Yep, just like communism. Because exercise, Karl Marx was a big personal trainer.
Right.
So anyway, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on marching band? I want to start with you because you went to L.V. Berkner.
Yep.
Didn't you? You went to Berkner.
Lloyd V. Berkner
You graduated
High School
what?
in Richardson, Texas.
67? Is that when you graduated?
I graduated in 2000. Thank you very much. I know it was before you were born, but
Oh,
no.
so I hit you with an old person joke. You hit me with a young person joke.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
I'm so offended that I'm so young.
Oh, okay. All right. What was the question you were asking me about my marching band experience?
What was marching band like for you, and what did L.V. Bergner do to inspire you?
So, I marched in marching band when rocks were soft. So it's a long time ago, and it's interesting actually looking at shows of today compared to shows that we did. Marching band has changed completely, and I remember we added a prop for the first time right after I left school. So this would have been 2001, 2002, or it was one of those marching seasons. I remember going back, seeing the marching band, and they had a prop on the field. And it was just like, I don't know, a tower.
Yeah.
That served no purpose. And I remember thinking to myself, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And now, to see a marching band that doesn't put something on the field, some obstacle for people to march around.
Prosper's going propless this year.
They are going
It'll
propless.
be the propless high school band.
It's very rare. It's really it's changed a lot. We had no choreographer. Now they've got choreographers. I remember one of the years I marched, we wanted to do a little horn move in the trumpet section, and it was vetoed.
Really?
We're talking like just we would put the instrument down and then here, and that's it.
That was unorthodox.
They were worried about just not getting it together, and so it wouldn't look clean and crisp. So we marched to our set, and then we marched to our next set, and then we marched to our next set, and then we marched to our next set, and then the show was over. We had a lot of sets, but no one just like 5 sets.
Right.
But then we came off the field, and that was the show. Now I will say that we did play a lot more than bands play today. The music portion, I think, has gone actually, without making enemies here, I think it's gone backwards.
Where you'll play a lot more, or you'll play a lot less, and it'll be more about the choreographic visual.
Yeah.
Yep.
We played a lot. I mean, my senior year, we did Shostakovich 10 as part of our
I did that
show.
my senior year too.
We did the
Wow.
entire scherzo for it. The entire movement we did.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't do
was
just like
it
a
the
little...
OG key.
Huh?
What key did y'all play? Do you remember?
E flat major, I think.
Yeah, we played it. I think we played it in A flat major.
Right.
I think.
But
Definitely wasn't.
you look at shows nowadays. It's like these little like cameo appearances. Like all of a sudden something will kind of creep in from a piece.
Well, it'll be a cameo appearance and then just freaking loud, like
Loud chords.
really loud chords,
And then a
sustained.
drum break.
Yeah,
And then a pit solo.
yeah, and I don't
And
think
then weird
it's,
electronic sounds.
it's not a skill thing. It's just the way that shows are designed now. Like
Yeah.
they're.
And I'm not saying necessarily right or wrong. I mean, I
There's
do.
also probably a lot more synth now than like electronic stuff than whenever you were in marching band.
Yeah, we had none. We had none
Yeah.
of that.
Just keyboard or marimba. and
We had
stuff.
marimba. I do remember one of the years we did our slow movement was Rachmaninoff Second Piano Concerto.
My heart.
Yeah,
I
and
love that
so we had a piano out there, electric piano for that. But that was the first year that they had ever done that, and it was kind of unheard of.
Okay.
Hardly anything was mic'd. In fact, I remember having we did Candide when I was a sophomore, and there was a flute solo. You know, be da dee ba da dum, be ba da da be ba da dum, and just to get the miking on the flute solo was like space age technology in the '90s
In the 90s.
because it was wireless and all that stuff. Nowadays, I mean, do you have a solo without a mic?
Not unless it's some ripping brass player, but probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they. Mr. Smith is a director here. We talked about how just how out there shows are getting, and it's crazy because you're seeing it happen amongst every entity in high school. I mean, they are literally broadcasting high school football games on Fox Sports now. So you have kids who are on national television, or I guess statewide television, whatever you want to call it. They basically took from the professional level and bled it down into the high school level.
Right.
I guess because that's what the market demanded, but it's the same thing. You take it from like the best drum corps in the world, and like that's where you're getting your show design from. And just look at what has happened to uniforms
Yeah.
in the last 15. I mean, for me, and I went to LD Bell High School. It was like we are going to be blue. Like
Right.
LD Bell's colors are, I guess, is navy blue. But if you had told me like Prosper, what is Prosper's color? I mean, come on, it's like as green as you can get, right?
Right.
And they've got red sleeves this year.
Right.
Like you used to just
I'm not
be
sure
able.
they have any green on their uniform.
I don't think they do.
I think it's just black and silver
There's
and white.
not even like a Prosper P, which is just.
Yeah.
I mean, that's blasphemy in this city. So
However, but that's now the norm in marching band is to have these like. Well, I remember at LD Bell, before I got there when they won Grand Nationals. No,
07 is when they won.
no, okay, I'm thinking of a different year. It was in 2009. You all marched with different uniforms, didn't you?
Yep.
And I
Yep, that was
remember
my
Van
sophomore year.
Matthews talking about a fully integrated show with uniforms that are unique to that show, and I remember thinking at the time, why in the world would you spend all that money for a unique uniform?
For second place, man. That's what.
Dude, second place at Grand Nationals is a big deal.
Yeah, that was one of those things where you don't even realize what kind of a program you're in until you get to that stage. And it was so funny because we would just waltz into San Antonio and be like, yeah, we'll take first place here. And
Right.
Arlington will do. I think we lost Arlington. I think we got second at Arlington, which was very strange to win Arlington. We got second at Arlington San Antonio Nationals. So.
Second to what, Marcus?
I think it was some weird school like Bowie High School.
Bowie?
Yeah.
Huh.
They're a talented group also, but yeah, so as far as I'm going to circle back to the question, how do you get inspired by marching band? I think it really is. I think you have to make connections within your section. I think
Right.
the more, well, I'm not going to say that this is a total, what do they call it on a graph? Exponential concept where the more friends you have, the more happy you'll be. But you got to make connections within your section and have like your close 3 or 4 or 5 friends. And then also realize like particularly if you're listening to this from Prosper, Like realize what part of a or what kind of a program you're in right now. You know, you are not in a program. I mean, there are so many programs. Think about this: if there's 60 bands that go to San Antonio, how many of those bands even have a shot remotely at making finals?
Very few.
Very few. So let's say if you know you're in the top 15, then you know you have a shot at. Well, I guess San Antonio has 14
I've no idea what the
finalists, so
numbers
I
are.
guess we'd say top 20. So 40 something of those bands are literally just going for the experience and just so that they can say, the directors can say, hey, look at our band marching inside of the Alamo Dome.
Mm-hmm.
So just be grateful that you go to a place like Prosper where you, just by dint of your zip code, you have a shot of getting into San Antonio. So that should be inspiring for you, knowing that you're a part of this program. And it's the last year that Prosper is going to be one high school. Like for the rest of time, assuming Prosper is going to have multiple high schools, you are in the last show of a unified Prosper community. You know what I mean?
So you're saying in order to be inspired for the average student in a marching band, just understand the weight or the amount of opportunity you have.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's a must. Like you have to be about to make finals to be inspired. Because, I mean, if that was the case, everyone would quit.
Right.
Everyone would quit marching band. So if you're in the boat where you are in a band that has no shot, which if you're in this area in Texas, it's probably not the case anyway.
Right.
You know, there are no bad bands around here. And when I say bad, I'm talking about, you know, the bands that have 20 people or 30 or 40 people in them.
However, you know, if that is your scenario, I think there's a lot of fulfillment you can get out of that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a UIL area contest when I was a junior in high school. So this would have been 98. Bryan Adams High School, which is a school that it's kind of in the Lakewood area of Dallas.
Okay.
It's more of nowadays it's more of an inner city school. Well, not really, but it's not the, you know, suburban school that some of these others are.
Yeah.
And my mom actually went there years ago, but they had made area, and it was a band of about 20 or 30 kids.
Wow.
And I can remember watching their show, and they did a Blues Brothers show, and they absolutely tore down the house. I mean, and the reality is they didn't have the size, they didn't have the sophisticated show to ever qualify for state. But they just went out there with wild abandon and did one of the most fun shows I've ever seen. And I mean, the place erupted afterwards. You had
So
the
that-
drum majors doing the Blues Brothers dances, and it was great. It was great.
That's awesome. I feel like that's got to be the point. At the end of the day, like we're there to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
And if your main focus is I got to get first place at every competition, then you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
Now that, I mean, full disclosure, that was our mindset at Bell, was we're going to win this competition, and we're not only going to win it, but we're going to win it by 3 points.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's a good point, is in order for you to be inspired, you kind of have to accept that this is an art form and you are going to be judged. So in math, you can score better just by dint of your knowledge and skill. For this, it's all I mean, think about this. How much, like realistically, how much control does a student body have over the place that it gets? Like, what if you hire a bad show designer or just an average Joe Schmo show designer because your budget isn't, like, you could take the greatest musicians and the greatest marchers on the planet and put them in a bad show, and you're still not going to make finals.
Or you have a judge who has indigestion and, you know, they don't feel very good and they're just wanting to get through it. And
Right.
you never know.
And their name, your high school name doesn't click with them, or
Right.
like when they hear your name, they wonder where you're from or whatever. Like when Marcus High School steps on the field, every judge knows who they are.
Right. And you like to think that that's not the case, but we're all human,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So
So
but, you know, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, the idea of having excellence, that you want to go out and you want to operate at the highest level possible. And then there's also the idea of taking a step back and just enjoying where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, looking into the stands at a football game and seeing thousands of people in front of you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. For a lot of kids, they will never get that opportunity again.
Right.
To perform for thousands. And in fact, you go to some of the bigger competitions, it could be tens of thousands.
Yep. Grand Nationals finals. You walk onto the field and it's like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. Where did you all come from?
Yeah. I never marched in Indianapolis, but I can remember being at the old stadium at Baylor and marching on the field for a BOA, and that press box was the highest press box I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And we would do
overwhelming.
horns to the box for the big stuff, and we did do that horn move.
This
but
one where it's instant, or did
yeah,
Crescendo?
we would go, yeah. But anyway, the horns to the box move was like I'm looking straight up. I almost felt like the press box was hovering over the top of us. It was, but it's such a unique feeling.
I think what you said is a good point, though. It's like, look, this is probably the only time in your life that you're going to be able to perform for stuff like this. And I always thought it was so funny because I'm not teching this year, but as a tech in the last 3 years, kids are about to go on at a football game at, not New Eagle Stadium, but the old Eagle Stadium. And they're like shaking nervous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you nervous? I've never done this before. This is kind of nerve-wracking and all that kind of stuff. And you don't think about it, but, kids play it cool, but this is like really nerve-wracking for some people.
Yeah.
Very much so. And I think for me, I would always get like the excited shakes, but these kids are like, can't even hold their instrument. They're so nervous. And it kind of pulls you back into reality. Like for most of these kids, even though they play it cool all the time and they act like they don't care, they really do care about it.
Yeah. And what a great opportunity for them to learn courage.
Right.
You don't.
Yeah. Essentially, when you're on the sideline, the boats are burned. Like you have no.
Yeah. There's no going back.
You can't bow out. You can't like leave the show.
In fact, I can remember. It's always that first stop onto the field.
Mm-hmm.
We are now going onto the field. There's no going back. You can't run back to the bathroom and wet on yourself.
Well, you can.
I guess you could. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're going on.
Yeah, we would do this thing at Bell where we would do a march on. I don't know if you ever watched Bell shows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But the head director would always, do the countdown. 5, 4, 3. I didn't really register it, but it was that's what they do at BOA, all BOA events. They've got the guy with the stopwatch, and he'll click you on.
Yeah.
And he'll say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're on the clock. And so our director would say that, and it was always like, dude, every time. So it was an interesting dynamic at that high school because people would come. Like normally at football games, you see the size of the home crowd diminish for halftime because they're going to get their food and stuff. Our crowd size would grow for halftime because if, let's say it was a Thursday night game or a Friday night game, if you were in the area and you were a high school band kid, you were coming to watch the Bell Show live. So our audiences at home would be thousands of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the games that I went to, I'd show up midway through the second quarter.
Yeah.
Watch halftime and go home.
Exactly.
I had no idea how the football team did.
Yeah, and so we when we did the march on, we would, I think it was base 4 would go, doom, 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 and then we would just start marching on. We would do, and it was a good way to, it's a really cool way to just practice, get the nerves out, but also get like a little technique warm up before you went on.
Right.
And
we would march on. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say the crowd would lose their freaking minds whenever we walked on, and it was like, guys, this is just an 8 to 5. You should should wait and see what you're about to see.
We used to do. We'd march on from the back sideline.
Okay.
And so we'd all be back, and the drum majors would come out. The head drum major would turn around, call us to attention with a whistle, and so it'd be tweet, 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 and then we'd hut.
So it's
And then
like
all
you're
of a
playing a
sudden-
football game.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, the drum line had a cadence. They always did. It was called Crazy Army, and so they go.
Naturally.
See what it was, dut 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 dut, and we'd always go. Here we go, and then boom, 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 boom. It was great, man. I
Those are the
still
best.
remember that.
Those are the best. So you would do a cadential march on. Just I feel like that was the way to go. Some bands, I understand why they do it though, because it's awkward. Because some bands just kind of like walk on, and it's like, ooh, you're here.
Yeah, we just slowly walk onto your first set.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Well-
it was great, man. And once it started, it was the same guy who always did the announcements. One of our band directors, Pete Tolheisen, and so it was, it was the big band, the mighty Ram Band, the class of the
yeah.
class.
Mighty Ram Band.
Yeah, man. Never forget it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're touching on a good point, and we had really good teachers and mentors. John Alstron was one of my directors when I was in high school. They were really good about reminding you that like you can't have this time back. This is your life. This is not just about marching band. This is about like building a community of people and learning how to be a part of a group for the greater cause, and that I think, like for me, when I think about the best aspects of the United States, it's not necessarily a bunch of individuals. It's like, what are we supposed to be as a community?
Right.
Like we're supposed to be people who are working together towards a common goal, which is to make our country the best version of itself. Obviously some people have different viewpoints on what that looks like. But same thing happens in band.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the people who are trying to take away from the group? Of course. But if you can get a majority of people moving in the right direction, man, the product that you can produce is just crazy. It's just really, really awesome.
Yeah.
So as far as inspiration goes, I mean, just get excited, man. This is like, you don't get another shot at a show. And, like I said, particularly if you're in a band program that's successful, you should feel lucky. Because that's really what it was, is you got lucky that you ended up growing up here.
Yeah, you live in the right zip
like
code.
when your parents moved here from California, they weren't like, I wonder what the band program's like in Prosper.
Right.
Or
wherever.
You have a yeah, exactly. And you have a super supportive community also, which is great. So.
Yeah, and you just never get this back. Because college marching band's different. It's all about entertaining a crowd.
Yeah.
It's just a completely different mindset. And if you go to some place like Rice, what do they call that? The mob? Where they just run on the field and do whatever they want? Excuse me.
I will bleep that out.
You will bleep that.
So then people will think
that I said the F word?
It's the F word.
Right.
It was the HE double hockey sticks word.
Right.
So.
But yeah, it's.
But yeah, that's exactly what they do. And then U of H goes on, and it's like.
Right.
I don't know. Shout out Tom Neal for taking everything up an octave, and he would add. So we had the fight song. It's an A flat, and R. Kelly has a song remix, the Ignition remix.
Okay.
And let me see if I can. You have it. Look up
I got Apple Music. I can find everything.
And then remix, or I think it's Ignition by R. Kelly.
Now, usually I don't do this, but
So Tom Neal figured out a way to fit this bass line.
Do what?
Can you keep playing it?
Okay, yeah.
This bass line, he would fit this bass line inside of our
I can't
fights.
hear you. What?
You don't need to hear me.
It looks like you're talking at me.
No, he would fit this bass line inside of our fight song.
That's why I'm all up in your grill, trying to get you to a hotel. You must be a football coach, the way you got me playing the field. So baby, give me that and let me get that. Running her hands through my fro, bouncing on 24s. Why they say I'm ready?
So yeah, he would fit that bass line inside of our fight song. So that's what college marching band was all about.
Right,
Was
it's about
basically, having as much fun as you possibly can. Because look, dude, it's like you're in college. You have so many things to do, but you're at a football game.
Yeah, the high level stuff, the art of marching band is really, I mean, for most people, it's just high school. I
Yeah.
mean, if you do a drum and bugle corps, you get it in that, but it's not really in college. It's just
And that
multi-purpose.
is mega intense.
Yeah.
I'm not talking out of experience. I never did drum corps, but from
Right.
what I've heard, I mean, it's got to be. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, all summer. I mean, you just eat, breathe, sleep it.
Yeah, which is a commitment. But anyway,
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. So there's a girl who I was talking to yesterday, who will go nameless.
oh yeah, no name.
She was here at the high school, and she decided for her senior year that she was going to drop out of band. And
Trumpet player?
huh?
Trumpet player?
I'm not going to say the section.
Okay.
But she was.
We'll talk after the podcast.
Here looking for a band director yesterday because she realized that she made a big mistake. And she is getting back in because
Well, good for her.
it was a week. She from the distance she saw the band starting all their stuff, and she realized I'm missing out on one of the biggest opportunities that I'll have. And she said I can't do that my senior year.
Good for her. Most seniors will make that poor choice and stick to it.
Yeah, and I was asking her why she decided to drop out, and it wasn't really for any reasons that made sense. It was just because, I don't know, she decided on the spur of the moment that maybe her senior year she wanted a lighter year, and I said, well, okay, but you'll never get this back.
I don't understand. I get the whole senioritis thing, but like, dude, you're 17, 18 years old. You got stuff to do, man. Go.
Right.
You will have time to sit on your couch and watch TV or what. And the idea, like, oh, my senior year, I'm really gonna push and like, no. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go home. And you're gonna waste your time, or
Right.
you're gonna, go to your friend's house and waste your time. It's like, why do you need a lighter senior year? Like, if you're going to college, it just sets up. I think honestly, it's just a mindset, and they get a little bit of slack on their rope,
Mm-hmm.
and then they take that and they go, okay, well, I'm just gonna relax. Like, I need this. Like, no, you just made that up in your head.
Right.
You don't. I didn't realize you were a psychiatrist. That's crazy.
Well, and I think most people probably they kind of kill themselves early with course load so they can have a lighter course load their senior year. That makes sense.
Sure.
But I know to
I
give
just
up
don't
on.
understand why you would want a lighter year. Like, why?
But I had a lighter year just so I could prepare college auditions, but I didn't abandon all the things that were, I didn't abandon my social life.
Right.
In fact, I kind of, I deepened it because
Yeah.
I realized that after that year, it was going to be different.
Yep. But I'm sure we'll talk more marching band as we go along. Prosper's going to experience a bunch of success this year.
Yeah, we didn't really address Ann's question.
I thought you said is something about inspiring kids to be in marching band. Was there a second half of the question?
No, the question was, what can parents do to help support their
Oh.
kids in band?
Episode 13? What
Ann,
can parents do to... Yeah,
I'm
listen.
sorry,
Sorry, Ann.
but we will answer your question next time.
This
We're
is
building
the
anticipation.
ADD,
That's what's going.
POM. Okay, so what can parents do?
What can parents do to help support their kids in their band program?
Oh, dude, I can answer that in 5 seconds.
I can't.
Yeah, dude, I really can't. That was a joke.
We can think of thousands of things.
Okay, well,
So think on that. I'll think on that.
okay, so I'm just going to say this. Joe Rogan has 1,337 podcasts, so we will get to it. This is number 12. We will get to it.
Most likely, we don't have 300 something things to say.
What do you mean?
300 thing, like Joe Rogan with 300 something episodes.
Oh, he's
Most likely-
1,300.
Oh, 1,000. We definitely don't have that many episodes in our head.
Not yet.
Okay.
He's also been shooting podcasts for over 10 years. And we've been
Right.
shooting it for not even 10 weeks.
Right.
Actually, 10 months. We've let's see, we started in February.
We'll try to have guests on that can stay past 5 minutes into the show.
We're gonna
Hey,
make
introduce
we're gonna make a great
yourself. Okay,
dance
bye.
promo. Yeah, we're gonna make a great dance promo. Yeah, why don't I kind of feel bad about the question thing. We'll get to it though.
We will.
Yeah, next episode we're gonna talk about what
Scouts
parents.
honor. Scouts honor.
Yeah, we'll talk about what parents can do, and friends friends of band members, and anybody who knows somebody in band. So, anyway, signing off. This is still going to be a longer episode. That's fine. Actually, it'll be about 38 minutes. Hopefully, because if it isn't 38, then I'm totally wrong.
You poor thing.
Yeah, whatever. You don't believe that. All right, bye.